Yaqui heritage. So I'm not Hispanic, Latino, Chicano. I'm Yaqui. That's what I say. That's a term that's very stereotypical. And so I don't, I didn't know, because when my parents became American citizens, they became very westernized. And so my parents, as I was growing up, said, well, what am I? Oh, you're half Mexican, half Arab. Oh, that's it? And so, this desire to learn, my father was from Morocco. That is the Middle East. It is in North Africa. My father came to the United States on the Andrea Doria. It is a very famous Italian steamliner that sunk in the Atlantic when it was hit by the Stockholm. Fortunately, my dad came across before it sunk. And so, he had an uncle. I won't tell you my entire life story, but how I came to be. He had an uncle that lived in San Diego. His uncle was a veteran of the Spanish Civil War. His uncle's wife was German. She has left Germany during World War II with her sister because her sister married somebody who was Jewish. It wasn't good to be Jewish in Germany in World War II. And so they left Germany. And somehow they got together, the uncle and his wife. And so she is the one who named me, and I called her grandmother. I never met my grandmother on my mother's side because my mother was orphaned at 4. Her father died, and she was orphaned off because she came from a poor family. And so I'm still learning about my mother's side, who's still alive, who lives in California. My dad is remarried and lives in Baja, Mexico. When my father came to the U.S., he worked on his uncle's chicken farm to help pay back for getting them over to the United States. And on that farm, he met a worker that was from across the border, or I like to call it the imaginary border. And so, so he said, come and meet my familia, my family. So he did. Oh, and by the way, they had a common language. They speak Spanish in Morocco. They also speak French and Arabic, as well as they do in Algeria. And so my father was able to communicate with him. He went across the border and he met this family, and there was an adopted girl in the family. They didn't like each other at first. After 2 years they got together. Of course, here I am. And so I'm the oldest of 3 kids. And I'm the only one interested in culture. I have been to my father's country in Morocco. I was able to communicate with them. I don't speak Arabic, I do speak Spanish. I don't read or write it. But they do. My cousin spoke Spanish, so I was able to talk to them. So, as a 7-year-old kid, I was just a kid. To me, it was no difference, rich or poor, white, black, or brown. So, I really enjoyed that part of growing up as a kid, being there. I also found out that my grandfather was a flute player, but I didn't find this out until 7 years ago, when I played my native flutes for my father. And he looked at me and says, your grandfather was a flute player. Why didn't you tell me this when I was growing up? I didn't think it was important. I really stress that now as an adult, telling young people, ask questions, tell the kids, who they are, where they come from. And so the Yaquis, now, they play a flute, but it's not like this. However, there are Yaquis that play plain-style flutes. Alex Maldonado is one, and he is from, I think, Arizona. And you can look him up on the internet, and he makes flutes, and he's also a performer who plays these instruments. Anyways, that's kind of sort of how I came to be, a mixed heritage and mixed culture. So it's very interesting to walk 3 different worlds for me. It's growing up in Southern California. So I've lived in the state of Washington for 15 years or so, and there's so much culture here, it's unbelievable to me. So I'm very grateful and blessed that I can be here, and also be here at this time, at this place, and share a little bit with who I am with you. Okay, now getting started on the flutes. Okay, you can hold the flute. Huh? Oh, a couple more, okay. We're going to do individual. Maybe that puts you on the spot or something. No. And you don't have to do this if you don't want to. For those that are trying to listen to what they're playing, because it does get kind of loud. And so we can start anywhere. Would you like to? That's what I get. It's her suggestion, so.
I have a problem with my left hand.
With your left hand? Okay, let me, I'll come to you here in a second. right hand on the bottom 3 holes.
Bottom, right hand?
Right hand, bottom 3 holes. Top holes, the left hand.
Two fingers on
Yeah.
up?
No, you did it. You did it. You did it. Let me help. So what's going on?
My left hand, I can't, you know.
So
I can do everything else.
like this, yeah, like this, and then keep that covered.
Yeah, but these ones here.
You want to try?
Right hand.
Yeah.
Left hand, left hand.
No, you're fine. You're fine. No, you're not messing up. I think a little bit of air is coming through somewhere. That's what it sounds like to me. Like that's why a design is from the Southwest, and it's very unique. Pardon me?
It's like a card game board.
Yeah. There's.
South Americans have, it's like six,
6-hole flute?
yeah.
They do.
What's the difference?
The difference.
No,
This-
it's, they got a
Oh.
bowl.
I know what you're talking about. One of these.
Yeah.
Pan flute.
That looks like a clinket flute.
Very, very hard to play. I tried. I forget about it. I can't give you a sample of what it was because I don't know how to play this.
The clinkets had a flute, something like
Something like this, huh? Pan flute. This is called and excuse me if I mispronounce it, quena, or quena. And so, and it's a lip thing right here on how you play it. It's difficult to play this, and it's got a hole in the bottom for the thumb. And you can find these at most fairs and street festivals, very cheap, but they do play well. This is made out of cedar, and this is made by the same people that make the flute that what you're playing with now. This is called a drone. This is what makes it sound so different and melodic. And this is in the key of B. It's a higher note. So what you can hear, obviously there's 2 flutes in one here. And then the one side, you see there's 2 holes down there where you blow also. And I mean the one side is all it is, and I can't change anything more on that. So that's really nice. And this is made by, like I said, stellar flute people. And by the way, if you are interested in Native American flutes and you want to learn how to play, and you can go online, you can find a lot of stuff online, DVDs and all this kind of stuff. I don't know, not for a lot of money. I know that these folks sell the flutes and they come with a DVD, how to play and all that. But when you're looking at the flutes online, they will call them Native American style flutes. And there's a difference between promoting these as Native American flutes versus Native American style flutes. If you are not Native, you're not a Caribbean native, and you make these, you have to call it Native American style by law. Okay? The friends, the people that made the flutes that you guys are learning on, they're not Native. They are Scottish, of Scottish heritage, the Stewart family. I know them well. I've known them for over 10 years. They're good people. They always donate flutes to when I'm trying to raise money for Native causes. For any time I need to, use flutes for raising money for anything really, and stuff, or to give to kids that just can't afford a flute and stuff. And they're always very good in giving people. Now this flute is made by somebody who's Anishinaabe, and so this is a native-made flute. And this flute is made out of I'm showing you for example. This is made out of old-growth redwood. This is a piece of 1,000-year-old redwood, which means it's pretty old, but it's my newest flute. And so the part that directs the air on this flute is made out of mammoth tusk. And so that's even much older than the piece of wood. And so